Hopefully I can make this video without being interrupted. Let's have a little chat. This is your host, The Occult View. Um, I wanted to come through and I wanted to talk about some things as usual. Just a few little things that were on my mind. Remember, it's not personal, it's spiritual. You can't take what I say personal and you can't apply it to yourself. If you take what I say personal, then that means I have power over your life. And you should have power over your own life and existence, not me and not anyone else. You can ask people for assistance, but a lot of times because people are rotten and degenerate on so many fucking levels, people like to take on the savior complex. And instead of them actually trying to help people for the better good, and for the collective consciousness, they do it for egotistical reasons. So, what I say is not personal. I'm just speaking how I see things through the lens of my eyes and my vibration and the things that I observe. It may be right, it may be motherfucking wrong for you, but at the end of the day, I shouldn't have any control over you. You feel what I'm saying? I was thinking about something. In one of my excuse me, in one of my I guess you could say one of my research expeditions, I've noticed something about a lot of, let's just say, people, particularly men in social media, and probably not just men, but because I'm into men and I am a man, I examine and I study their behavioral patterns, especially black men, and that's all part of the occult, and spirituality, studying people's patterns, because everyone has a spiritual pattern. And I can look at the spiritual pattern of black men and I can tell certain things about them. So, this is what I'm talking about. Everywhere I go on social media, black men have the most negative social media platforms. It doesn't matter if it's on a dating site that I may be, scoping just to see what the energy is in the dating world. I'm not looking for anyone, but I do keep a profile on hand because I want to see what people are doing and I want to see what the energy is like in the world and what people are thinking. And I have to tell you, it is very, very dismal. It's dismal on the straight side and it's dismal on the gay side as well. Very dismal. I ran across a person's profile and this is what he said. I can see through your bullshit. This is what he posted on his profile. Now he's looking for a woman. He's looking for a woman. He's 43 years old and he's looking for a woman on a dating site. But he puts out the most negative and the most nastiest forms of energy. He's a black guy. And this is no discriminatory or trying to be negative towards other black men. It's not about that. It's about examining the patterns. And people don't like to be examined. So he puts out, I can see through your bullshit, but I'll give you enough rope to hang yourself and leave you there. Then you had a profile of another black man, excuse me, that said, while he looks like the crypt keeper, he says, I only date white women and Hispanic women. Don't get mad. That's just my preference. And I'm speaking how I think they sound, how that message sounds. That is why I'm speaking so dramatically, because to me, that is how that energy sounds. Okay, you like white women and Hispanic women. That's okay. Why do you have to add all of that extra bullshit? Is it because white women and Hispanic women are not giving you the same admiration that you're giving them? Then I saw another guy, another black guy post, I only like white women, but it seemed like they don't like me. Y'all need to open your minds and your hearts up. How can you ask somebody to open up their minds and their hearts when you don't even like the same women of your own race? You are asking people to open up their minds and their hearts, but your mind and your heart is closed the fuck off. Do you all see the dysfunctional pattern here? You see the dysfunctional pattern? You are in social media demanding that strangers give you something that they don't owe you. I know a guy that I used to actually mess with. He moved to Texas and he told me that they don't really like black men in Texas like that. He said he can't get any person that is non-black, and maybe even I don't know if he was referring to black people as well, but he said he could not get any attention from any non-black people. But social media and different people, particularly black men, they would have us believe that they have the pick of the fucking litter when it comes to non-black women going down into these southern states. And that's really not the case in reality. See, there's reality and then there's their distorted illusionary reality. Look at what's happening to Tommy Sotomayor. He has been banned across the spectrum. He uplifted certain groups of people and he degraded certain groups of people. And the people that he uplifted, none of them are extending a helping hand. He has been banned on OnlyFans. He has been banned on YouTube. And I'm not making fun of it. I'm just observing it. And I don't give a fuck who gets offended about me talking about him. I said what I said. I remember years ago when I used to read Sylvia Browne books. And I know a lot of people did not like Sylvia Browne. I liked Sylvia Browne because I think that Sylvia Browne at one time was the real deal. She was probably the only white occultist spiritualist that I really had some respect for. Because at one time, I'm talking about prior to her becoming, the Sylvia Browne that we knew. I think she had some real gifts, but it became perverted by fame and the limelight and all that other bullshit. But I remember when I used to read her book, she used to talk about when some people die, they don't get and this is this can all be taken with you know let your conscience be your guide on this, okay? She would say that when some people died, they did not experience the same white light and the same positive experiences or so-called positive experiences that others do. She said that people who were basically damned, they went through something called the left door. And the left door is a dimension that recycles you right back to earth. You don't get to go to the other side and reunite with your ancestors and your loved ones and all that stuff. You don't get to experience any of that when you have to go through the left door. And she was saying that some of these people who die, they don't get to go through, they have to go through the left door. They have to go through the left door. And the people that oftentimes go through this left door, and I'm only speaking how she spoke, I'll break down my symbology of it in a minute. But she said that some of these people that go through the left door, they were what people would call the narcissist, the people that were remorseless, that did not have a conscience, that harmed people, that used people, that really did not give a fuck about people in general. You get what I'm saying? These are people, I guess, I'm assuming I think she did use these people as an example, like the Hitlers and the Saddam Husseins and people of that nature. Now, I'm not saying that those were her words, but I think it's more complex than just that. I think that, and I'm going to say something that's very controversial. I think a lot of black men are having a left door experience right now. A lot of black men in America are having a left door spiritual experience. And I think that the left door, and she also said that the left door was like being disconnected from God. Well, the black man has disconnected his godhood in exchange for lesser types of energies. Let's just say that. So when you experience the left door, I don't think you have to be dead or out of your body to experience it. The left door is like, and I don't really think it's necessarily about, coming right back into the body after you die, meaning in reincarnating as they call it. I think it's walking in a curse, in a circle, and never being relieved of that circle or never being relieved of that torment or affliction. I think that is also the left door because, truthfully, symbolically, what she was really talking about, she may not have known this, but I do. She was talking about only operating from the left side of the brain, which, if I'm not mistaken, I believe the left side is masculine and the right side is the feminine side of the brain. That's what they say. What's the word? Anatomically or anatomy wise. Anatomy wise. There we go. Um, the left side is supposed to be spiritual anatomy wise. The left side is supposed to be the masculine side, and the right side is supposed to be the feminine side. And while people want to blame feminine energy for a lot of stuff, black men are not feminine. That's not feminine energy. Black men are overly masculine, and what happens is that over being overly masculine turns into toxic masculinity, and that is what you see in gay men like a Funky Dineva, like a Saucy Santana, and then it spills over into heterosexual black men who don't like other men. But what ends up happening is they end up attacking and basically cannibalizing off of the black woman. And sometimes black women are being cannibalized off of by black men and they don't even know it. Sometimes they will sit you down at a feast and you don't even know that you're the main course. They will have a whole feast there and you don't know that you're really the main course. Let me tell you what I'm talking about. I have a lot of respect for the knowledge that this elder puts out, Shahrazad Ali. And I've even as a gay guy, I've gotten, knowledge and wisdom from some of the things that she says, and I'm not knocking anything that she says. But what I find very interesting is this. I was watching a recent interview that she did maybe about a month ago or so, and the interviewer asked her, how did she feel about Kevin Samuels? And She actually said that she knew him and that they were going to do a whole um I think what were they going to do? They had like a lecture planned, but then he died. So it did not come to fruition. Then there was something else she oh got a little bit. There was something else she said too that kind of made me go, interesting. She made a comment that you got brothers and sisters running around here talking about the black woman as God. And that's basically some nonsense. Really? Okay. So if you don't think you're God, then who do you think you are? If you don't think that you're God, then who are you supposed to think that you are? If you don't think that you are also an image of God, then who do you think you are? You know why she feels that way? Because she is operating within the left door. She's operating within the left door. Women can do it too. And that is when they deny their own feminine power. And I'm not talking about no fucking feminism. I'm not talking about no toxic feminism. I'm not talking about any of that. I'm not talking about lesbianism. I'm talking about that ancient black wisdom, those ancient black grandmothers that gave their families wisdom and protection and magic that black women used to pull from. But then they were told, oh no, you have to worship the left door. You have to worship the masculine side of yourself and deny the feminine side of yourself. So I really find it interesting that Sister Ali, and I'm not attacking her, but I find it interesting that she tells black women that you need to be more feminine, but you're telling them to deny the fact that they are really God, that they are also made in the image of God. How does that work? How does that work? But then again, I have to remember she's part of the Nation of Islam. And she goes by certain ideologies within that religion. Okay? And what's very interesting is that the God Allah, that masculine deity, was actually a feminine energy before they stole it in the 14 or 1500s and made it into the Allah of the Islamic religion. And I don't give a fuck who gets offended by what I'm saying. That was stolen from the Igbo people, if I'm not mistaken. And Allah, they changed the name, they added an L and they added the H. But before then, Allah, A-L-A, was a female deity. That was a female deity or demon or whatever you want to call it, but nevertheless, that is where they based their Allah, masculine male god, off of in the Islamic religion. So that's what she follows. So when I really sit back and I really understand what's going on, black people are operating within the left door. No remorse, no conscience. This is the toxic masculinity that everyone talks about. Now, don't get me motherfucking wrong. I'm not attacking, straight men's masculinity. I'm not speaking in that spectrum. I'm speaking in the spiritual spectrum. I'm not speaking in physical. Right now, I'm not in the physical world. Right now, I'm speaking in spirit. So this is not about what Terry Crews said in that book about, no, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about something beyond that. And it does a trickle down effect. So when I think about what Sister Ali said about, black women are there, you're not gods. Well, maybe you're not. But that goes to show you that even she is disconnected from her godhood because she has to depend on men. She has to depend on men on various YouTube outlets to promote her work. So she said that she knew Kevin Samuels. And she said that he was, she said that she was aware that he used a lot of her talking points. She said that she was aware of that. But what she was not aware of is that, Kevin Samuels was a Pisces. You are a Taurus. Okay? He was a Pisces, you're a Taurus. And when you really look at those houses, they don't mesh very well within those, those zodiac houses. Taurus and Pisces, they don't mesh very well. Marion Barry and Cora Mastersberry, they tried to do it. He was the Pisces, she was the Taurus. You see, that didn't last. But she said that, speaking of Miss Ali, she said that he admitted that he used a lot of her talking points. But because she's not connected to her God, her real God, which is what she was made in the image of, which is woman, because she's not connected to that. And this ain't no feminist shit. So I don't want to appear that I'm trying to promote no fucking feminism. That's not what I'm doing. What I'm saying is she is denying her feminine power and uplifting masculine power. And a lot of the black men that she's uplifting, they don't deserve it. They don't deserve it. You allowed a man to use your energy. You allowed him to use your energy, and you basically got nothing out of it. You got nothing out of it. And that's because you will never get anything out of it when you deny your own godhood that's within you. And the backside of Islam tells you that you're really a god, or there's a God that you're made in the image of that is connected to you. And it's not just men. I don't know where they get this bullshit from. Because when you look at the spiritual and the physical anatomy of the black woman, she said it herself, the black woman gave birth to civilizations. No black men gave birth to civilizations. Black men plant the seed. The black woman carries it. The black woman has the mitochondrial DNA, which is the Akashic records of everything in fucking history, not just on this planet, but on others as well. And then you wonder why they're constantly sacrificing black women. And you want to tell me that black women are not made in the image of God? You want to tell me that the black woman is not made in the image of God? When the black woman dies in the family suffers. When my grandmother died in 1987, my family never recovered. Never recovered. And I'm not attacking or downgrading the black man, but I'm pointing things out. Because right now, these people are walking in the left door. They are remorseless, they have no conscience, and they have no guidance. And that is really what the left door is about as well. No conscience, no remorse, no guidance. And when you don't have those things, you cannot see clearly. When you don't have any remorse for how you've affected people, when you don't have a conscience about how you've treated people, you have no guidance. And you're walking within the left door. So when I see all of these silly black men on social media, on dating sites, and all they can put out is, if you ain't this and if you ain't that, and I can see your bullshit. Right here in D, these are black men right here in DC. They walk in bitterness. They walk in confusion. They walk in anger all the time. They don't walk in discernment. And then you have people like Sister Ali telling these men that they're gods. How can they be gods when they're disconnected from their godhood? And then whenever the black woman tries to reconnect to hers, it's a problem. And this is not about condoning fucked up behaviors in certain black women. It's not about that. I'm not condoning any ratchet, disgraceful, dishonorable bitches. I'm not doing that. But I'm just pointing out how you have people like Sister Ali telling, black women that you ain't no God. Well, that's the problem right there. That's the problem right there. The black woman cannot reconnect to or connect to her godhood because of people like that. And I say that with respect, not with no hate. And of course, if people don't like it, I don't give a fuck about it because I'm going to say whatever the fuck I want to, just like they do. I'm not disregarding the issues that Miss Ali brings up in the black community. I'm not disregarding any of that. But when you come from, see, the problem is this. What she said out of her mouth was an attack on black women's spirituality, in my opinion. I'm not talking about being a controlling, manipulative, remorseless, sociopathic woman. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about black women being able to connect to the God and goddess within them and operating in full balance of their mind, masculine and feminine. Being in the highest state of the, what do they call it? The Amdula Bamangata, the Amdula Bamangata. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Being in that perfect state of bliss within you, which is androgyny. Nobody talks about that anymore. And that's because people are operating within the left door. They're operating within the masculine realm. And they're only operating within the analytical realm. And there's a time and place for everything. You can say all of the wonderful, knowledgeable things. You can say that this person has this. You can put out all of the knowledge from books and all of your research and all of that. You can do all of that. But none of that is going to do anything to bring into fruition positive change. So when Miss Ali and others that think like that, when they say, well, black people are still in the same old place, still doing it, you know why black people are in the same place? Because they removed the black woman from the position that she was really supposed to be in. And I'm not talking about no egotistical bullshit of sitting on your throne eating your bonbons. I'm talking about real power. I'm talking about real power that exudes anything that we can understand. I'm talking about some Borg queen type of shit. I'm talking about some alien type of shit. And I don't mean alien as far as what they tell us is alien. I'm talking about the black woman being timeless and being able to tap into multiple dimensions and bring that wisdom forth. And you're telling black women basically that they should not tap into that they should give all their power over to left door mentality black men. And we see a lot of them in Hollywood today. Left door mentality. I don't give a fuck what they got in their bank account. Their spirit is dead. And their spirit is dead because they're operating within the left door. They're not operating in balance. They're not operating in bliss and balance. balance. And bliss and balance does not mean that you're passive. It just means that you're aware. It means you control your reality as much as you possibly can. So when you have black men all on social media and these dating apps, you gotta be this and you gotta be real and all this old bullshit. How can you expect people to be real? Well, first of all, people always say they want real people. People always say, keep it real, let's be real. Black people in general, men and women say this shit. You gotta be real. But then when you run across a real person, you want them to be fake. You want everybody to be real until you really cross a real person. And then you want them to be fake. That is left door mentality. Because you have no discernment and you have no intuition because you shut off your feminine side. All of these murders of black women in this Shanquella Robinson case, that's taking place. I don't know if it's a real case or not, but if it is real, it's another example of us being showed how there's no regard for black women's lives. It's another example of them showing us that black women really don't matter to them. It's another example of them showing us why they are trying so hard to really, you keep thinking that they're trying to eradicate black men. No, they're trying to eradicate black women. They're trying to eradicate black women and they're showing you this, but nobody really gives a fuck about it. They're showing you how they're trying to really eradicate black women. How they're trying to eradicate elders, black female elders. But you got these stupid ass motherfucking men, black men running around smoking weed all motherfucking day, and I don't give a fuck who it offends. You fucking 50 fucking plus walking around smoking weed thinking that you fucking knowledgeable. You ain't fucking knowledgeable. You are a government test dummy, and they're using you to promote a fucking agenda to destroy the fucking black community, especially the black woman. That weed ain't fucking right. That's why they're making it legal. Because they want to put you in their I like to call it, their ant farm. They want to see how you respond to their experiment. While everyone was over here looking at, talking about the vax and all that stuff, the real motherfucking shit we should have been paying attention to was them passing and legalizing marijuana. Why all of a sudden do they want to legalize marijuana? Why all of a sudden? Because there's an agenda behind it to keep you dumb, dead, and stupid. Because that is not the same marijuana that my elders used to smoke back in the day. And they tell me that. They was like, Seer, that ain't the same shit. We'd have tried it. That shit is some demonic ass motherfucking shit. And they're right, because these niggas walk around with attitudes. The women too, who smoke it. They walk around with attitudes. They acting funny. They acting crazy. They are aggressive. They're ready to fight you if you walk past them. They're ready to fight you. They don't say, excuse me. Just like when I was at a funeral a couple of months ago, I was in my old neighborhood and I was walking down the street and this nigga gonna walk past me. He walks up all close on me, didn't even say fucking excuse me. He smelled like weed. He didn't touch me because the nigga would have touched me. I would have killed that motherfucker out there on Georgia Avenue. But he smelled just like weed. That's all they do now. Their love is now weed. Is sitting up smoking all fucking day. That's not consciousness and that's not spirituality. Now, I'm not knocking anybody that do what you do. I'm just looking at the metaphysical shit behind it. You do what you do. There are some people that can smoke it and it does not affect them in that way. Those are the true motherfucking spiritual warriors, and those are true ancient, high level shamans and shit like that. it doesn't have that same effect on them because they're not weak, watered down people. So when I hear people say, "Oh, we all family because we black," no, we not. No, we're not. No, we're not. You niggas ain't. You no, we're not. And I'm not talking to the people that watch me and genuinely follow me. This ain't for you. And if it is for you, then you decide which spectrum you want to be on. But remember, it's not personal. But all that bullshit, oh, we all related, we black. No, we're not. No, we're not. No, we're not. We come from different tribes, we have different ideologies, we have different thought processes. I come from a more boule, more witchy boule type of bloodline, if you want to know. I don't come from no hood booger, ghetto ratchet bloodline. What ended up happening was my grandmother, she married my step grandfather, who I was not related to by blood because he was not my mother's biological father. She married a ghetto ratchet broken man, which ultimately led to her early demise because of the decision she made to stay with this man who did not treat her well when she came from a rich boule line. And I'm not speaking in terms of money, I'm talking about blood and genetics. But she intermingled with a motherfucker from the left door. And when you let these type of, they call them dark soul entities, when you let these type of dark soul entities into your life, they can wreak havoc. Because all of these or most of these left door type of people are darker soul entities, meaning they really don't advance spiritually. They can advance in the physical world because they've had lifetimes upon lifetimes of manipulating masses of people. And you see this with a lot of celebrities. That is why I don't really follow or worship celebrities. A lot of those celebrities are darker soul entities that are operating from the left door. It's okay to admire their work, but you don't get caught up in the cult. You understand what I'm saying to you? So these darker soul entities, you know, they can really cause a lot of distortion and damage within the spiritual spectrum of your lives. And that is why you have to be careful when you get involved with certain people. You have to be careful. And you have to understand or you have to figure out, is this person, whether it be a friend, lover, I don't care. You have to figure out as if this person is good for you. Most left door entities are not. Now, some of them can change. Most dark soul entities can change. And what I've been seeing lately, a lot of black men have become darker soul entities. Even in the so-called black magical occult conscious community, a lot of them, you can become a darker soul entity. That's where me and Sylvia Brown may differ. But I have my own thoughts. You can actually start out as an advanced spiritual being of light and then transcend into the darkness because you have an egotistical motive. This is why I really do not trust a lot of black men in the spiritual community. I don't trust them. I don't trust them. I don't trust them as readers, and I don't trust them. There are only very few black men that I trust, and they are not public people on YouTube or anywhere else. I don't trust a lot of men, period, but especially a lot of black men in the spiritual community because a lot of them are darker soul entities and they don't give a fuck about your spiritual development. The only thing that they care about is your money. Yeah, I fucking said it. Now do something about it. Like I told you, I prefer going to, if I have a problem spiritually, I talk to black women because that is where you're going to get the real wisdom from. That is where you're going to get your real answers from because black women are connected intergalactically. They are connected throughout time. These are all of the things that are within the genetics of the black woman, and it's connected to that mitochondrial DNA. There are many different levels to the mitochondrial DNA. It's not just, DNA to track who you are. There are many different layers of that rainbow that deal with many different things. The black woman is timeless. She knows no time or bounds. The black woman is universal and intergalactic. So when I hear people say that, oh, the black woman ain't God, this isn't about an egotistical Christian context of God. It's about tapping into that unlimited source within you, that eternal source within you. And that's for black men and black women. But black women got that motherfucking juice and sauce. And that is why everybody wants to take them out so they can take their place or attempt to. So are you walking on the left side? Are you operating within the left door rather? Or are you operating within your balance, which is in the middle? Because what I see a lot of black men, they've become darker soul entities. They're negative. They don't ever have nothing nice to say. And then they wonder why they spend most of their lives on dating apps talking about ain't nobody keeping it real. How can you expect people to keep it real when you're fake? You want people to keep it real, but when they keep it real with you, you become fake. And you show your real fakeness. You're asking people to keep it real when you're a darker soul entity with no conscience and no guidance. So how can you ask people to keep it real when you're fake? Dark soul entities are fake because they show you an illusion of what they want you to believe about themselves or what they want you to believe. I'm sorry. They show you an illusion of what they want you to believe about them, but that's not really who they are. Darker soul entities, and women can be darker soul entities too. Let's be very motherfucking clear. Let's be clear. They only show you what they want you to believe or what they want you to believe about them. So they can continue to cipher off of your energy. Kevin Samuels was a darker soul entity. He was a darker soul entity, and I don't give a fuck who gets offended. Just because you may tell the truth about certain things does not make you right. I know people ain't ready for that type of work. Let me say it again. Just because you tell the truth about certain things does not make you right. He was a darker soul entity. And even if some of the things he said were true, even if some of the things he said were true, did it really help to elevate or change anything? Jim Jones told a lot of truths too. Think about that. So that really shocked me when I heard Sister Ali say that she and Kevin were collaborating to do some type of lecture. I was like, okay, that explains a lot. That explains a lot. She emphasized they were going to make a lot of money. She emphasized that. On this channel, everybody is motherfucking fair game that I feel is relevant. Everybody is fair game. Everybody. Some people said that Kevin Samuels is not even really dead. They just transferred his energy into somebody else's body. That's the buzz. But I'm not getting into all of that. What I'm saying is that he was a darker soul entity. And people like him and Tommy Sotomayor, who is also a darker soul entity, has nothing to do with complexion or race. He is also a darker soul entity. And it's not because a person may have certain views, but when you peel back the layers of those views, they come from a malicious place. They come from a very, very evil, demonic place, a very low level place. And that's what I'm talking about. And those are darker soul entities. They come from a low level demonic place. Their thought process is low level and demonic because it's only designed to hurt people. It's only designed to cause a destabilization within your dimensions so they can suck you dry. Kevin Samuels and Tommy Sotomayor, they were backed up by what people call those archonic types of energies. And I'm going to leave that there. So, are you a darker soul entity? You can be a darker soul entity trying to work through your low level thinking, and you know what I'm saying? You can be that. Because we've all had, and see, this is the thing about, I don't, again, where I differ with Sylvia Brown. I think at some point we've all been on that darker side. But the difference is you don't stay there. You don't stay in that dark place. And people like Kevin and Tommy, they were in darker places. And they put on an image to make you believe that they were something that they really were not. Darker soul entities are very lonely, unhappy people. They're very lonely people. They're very bitter, angry, destructive, self destructive, and they are destructive to other people spiritually if you're not spiritually protected. You know? But ultimately, the people that they are the most destructive towards is themselves. And of course, a dark soul entity can be a man, it could be a woman, it could be a black woman, it could be a white man, it could be a black man, it could be, but we're talking about black people issues. And I'm noticing more and more a lot of darker soul entities. I'm seeing that more and more in black men where I did not see that before. I did not see that before. But now more and more I am seeing a lot of black men are darker soul entities. And it's probably some black women thrown in there too. But I'm seeing it more and more in black men, especially in social media. And their savagery against their own people, whether it be physically, emotionally, financially, just the savagery and the greed to control and to harm people by any means necessary, whether it be with their words. They get on dating apps. If you not in your 20s or 30s, I don't want you. And all that type of bullshit when these motherfuckers looking old as fuck. How can you judge people based upon their age? Or how can you make these demands? I want somebody in their 20s or 30s when you a 59-year-old motherfucking man that got 2 feet in the fucking grave. You're getting ready to meet the left fucking door. And you're telling a woman in her 40s who probably looks better than you that you don't want her. Is it because you really want someone that resembles a child? Let's have a real fucking conversation for a moment before I close this video out. Because that is what's being pulled into the spectrum as well. Is it that you want someone that resembles a child like white men do? Because we all know how they get down. And I don't give a fuck if it offends you or not that I'm saying it. We know how they get down. The exploitation of children. So now we're living in a culture where if you have an adult body and you are a full grown adult, that is being frowned upon. That's just like those disgusting porn videos that Tommy Sotomayor did. Those girls looked barely legal. They looked barely legal. I know they were legal, allegedly, but they looked barely legal. And this is one of the telltale signs of a darker soul entity. They straddle the lines between pedophilia and legality. They straddle the pedophilia lines. And I can say that because I ain't getting paid from YouTube and I don't care. But they straddle that line. They straddle that fine line from being in between being a pedophile and not being one. Excuse me. That is a telltale sign of a darker soul entity. Puff Daddy is a dark soul entity. He's a dark soul entity. Kanye West is not a dark soul entity. As much as I don't really particularly care for him, he's not a darker soul entity. Puff Daddy is a darker soul entity. Suge Knight is not even a darker soul entity. He was a victim of the circumstances of which he grew up in. Street life is all he knew. See, there's a difference between recycled trauma and being a darker soul entity. Just look in Puff Daddy's eyes. If you're a real spiritualist, you'll see it. If you're a real spiritualist and a real person of discernment, you'll see it. Puff Daddy is a darker soul entity. Karamo Brown is a dark soul entity with that bullshit ass fucking show that they need to fucking cancel. They need to cancel that motherfucking shit. How in the fuck did he get his own talk show? What credentials does he have? Like, really? But anyway, that's all I have to say. That's all I have to say. Just think on that for a moment. Just think on that. This is the Occult View. And I just wanted to come through and speak my piece. Thank you.